Did you know that 43% of all businesses lose deals on follow-up? In today's episode, we will discuss with a sales expert on how you can turn all your contacts into long-lasting contracts. Welcome to Provider's Edge, the podcast that helps healthcare entrepreneurs and innovators break down barriers and control their business, life, and future with valuable action steps. With me, your host, Sabrina Runbeck, a recovered clinician and a business deal catalyst. Let's rewrite the rules and create a positive social impact while increasing your profitability. Look, what we have here is Lynn Whitbeck. She is the queen of sales, and she's a returner for our podcast. A business owner and entrepreneur often hire Lynn to ignite winning sales. And because most of them are just simply chasing down leads, lacking client retention, conversion, and profit. So Lynn helps them to eliminate the lengthy, chaotic sales cycle to ignite their sales and unleash lasting profit. Bottom line is, don't make it harder than it's supposed to be. Sales should be win-win. And as we were engaging today, that most people don't even realize that a key conversational part with engagement is actually on the follow-up side. And most people, as Lynn said, 43 people don't even do any follow-up. So it's like you go on the first day, you had a good conversation, and then crickets, because there's never a second day, or you don't even know what that looks like. People do need time to digest and learn about you and trust you before they're actually making an actionable step. And Lynn has been the queen at doing sales and how do we relate to each other, and especially for the follow-up sequence. And she's the founder and CEO of Petite to Queen and a host of the acclaimed Your Career Crown, the TV network of Palucha, and Get More Client Show streaming on Amazon Fire, Roku, Apple TV. So excited for you to come back, Lynn.
Oh, Sabrina, it's always wonderful to see you, and I'm really honored to be here with you again today.
We are so blessed to really talk about this specific topic on follow-up, because many people in healthcare, especially the innovation space and also clinical space, we're often going to summits, conferences. And some people, when I talk to them, they always love to go to these conferences because they believe they can meet some of the great decision makers and key stakeholders in this B2B space. And we understand that having a conversation face-to-face, actually being immersed within, is such a crucial thing. But many people don't prepare to get there. You should be having multiple meetings set up, but they're kind of just throwing things in the darkness. Or they finally meet some good people, but there's not exactly a right, consistently duplicatable, measurable system that they can actually follow up. And then again, that great lead become a dead lead. So we would love for you to kind of walk us through some of the strategies and challenges of why people are having such difficulty following up and what to do to solve that.
Well, Sabrina, there's a myriad of reasons. One is I think people just don't know what to say or what to do. They haven't planned it out. They haven't thought about it. And so having a follow-up strategy in place, that's a big help right there. The second thing is if they don't follow up, they start to feel guilty, or they feel like, well, now I can't follow up because it's been too long. It's never too long. I had somebody follow up today who I haven't talked to for 4 years. So, I had to look at, I was like, okay, I knew him, right? I was connected with him on LinkedIn. He sent me an actual personal direct message, not an AI thing. And the thing is you just pick up the ball and you start running with it again. So there's a myriad of reasons, but the number one way to resolve it is to have a plan in place. And to have that plan in place, you need to understand what that your ideal client, your ideal prospect what they're looking for, what matters to them, so they can what? And then assemble that. You don't have to create new content. You don't have to create a whole bunch of new work because most likely you already have assets that you've built out or things that you can provide. The key is to speak to them in their tone, what they're looking for. It's not about you, not the we, I. It's about them. So that every time you are following up, you're delivering value. And even when they don't respond, they are hearing and seeing you. And they're recognizing that you are reaching out. And you also want to mix up the types of medium that you use. Don't just email them. Don't just DM them, right? There's so many different formats that you can use these days, right? You can actually hand address and mail them a note card, thanking them for meeting them. If you do book a call at an event, at a conference, have that strategy in place for how you're going to follow up to ensure that they show up for the meeting. A lot of times they get back to the office, things are on fire, all kinds of stuff is going on, and they may blow off a meeting. They could have never have added it properly to their calendar. So there's a number of steps that you can take to ensure they show up so that you can start that conversation back up and move forward, and really always lean into what's going on with them as to why it matters that you're having the conversation so that you can build your discovery like a detective or like any good person in the medical profession of understanding what's going on so that you can start to isolate the cause, right? You're diagnosing what's happening.
Preparing for a successful follow-up starts before the first encounter, especially when you're going to a conference. Know who you want to meet and plan your discussions around their pain points. Post-conference, send personalized messages referencing your conversations during the initial contact. Using multiple touch points, such as emails, linking messages, and even calling to build strong relationships. Long-term, mix up your communication method to keep connections dynamic and show ongoing commitment. Quick pause, everyone. I would love for you to take a screenshot of whatever device you're using to tune in with us today and post it on LinkedIn. And tag me, Sabrina Runbeck. Share your thoughts on today's topics. Let's challenge the norms in your business and drive meaningful changes in healthcare together. Now back to our conversation, and let's dive into the second half of our show. Yeah, something that you mentioned is never too late to follow up. I didn't realize on LinkedIn, especially on the computer, they now recently, at least correct me if I'm wrong, they categorize a focused group and the everybody else. And then because the message got buried, when I got on my phone last night, I realized there's a new tab for unread messages. I was like, whoa, that would have made my life so much easier, but you can't see that on the computer version. So when I was looking through all these old messages, they're just like you're saying, there are people that have spoke to me 2 years ago that I just never responded. But the way that I wrote a connection message in early on, I always write how I met them. And so that helped me to remember what that point of contact is. So then, because it's gone by so long, I just simply send a voice message directly on my LinkedIn app and telling them, hey, so sorry, things passed by, just kind of got buried. This is what's happening with me. Would love to see where you're at, right? Let's do a brainstorming session since we never really got connected last time, right? And just simply putting the offer in there. And don't feel bad that it's been so long and I just never done it. What other strategy have you seen, which you mentioned, be able to build out multiple method, right? You can do the LinkedIn personal message. You can send them a card. You can send email, and LinkedIn really can actually verify that email for you, for their profile. You can perhaps even find out their company. And I know many of us don't really give out addresses anymore, right? But you can find their company's address, right, to send a card. But you also recently ran a special training session focusing on the follow-up strategy. Can you walk us through some of those key points that you taught?
Yeah, I mean, it was a 7-step process for the workshop. And the first thing for any type of sales activity is you need to understand your ideal client. What's their why? You know, why are you even talking to them? Why are they want to talk to you? You know, what do they want, need, or lack? Why does it matter to them? You know, what problem does it solve? What area of concern does it address? So they can what? What's the goal? What's the initiative? What's the dream that they want to achieve? Because that's what people buy. People buy that goal, that initiative, that dream. And so you've got to really have that firmly framed. And then you really want to build out that ideal client persona so that you understand what's their normal day like. You know, what are the things that just bug the heck out of them? You know, what are the things that keep them up late at night? What are monetizable pain points? Those are big motivators. You really want to look into that. How are they feeling? How do they feel about these different things? You know, what are the emotions and motivations that really wrap around them on a daily basis? And when you put this ideal client avatar and their persona together, which you may have multiple ones, you could sell into different types of organizations or departments or different specialties. You're going to want to create one that's unique because someone who's in physical therapy is not the same as somebody who's an orthopedic surgeon. All right. There's some relationships there, right? But they're not the same. And they're going to have different experiences and they're going to have different motivations. And the things that are going on in their day to day are unique, right? So when you put those together, that's the basis for you to then create your follow-up strategy. Because now you know some things that you can talk to them about. What are those top 10 questions that they could have? What are top 10 objections? You know, what are the things that they want more information on? So as you put those things together, then you have a plan on how you're going to deliver the follow-up. And you can do it in a myriad of different ways. So you already mentioned you can actually pick up the phone and phone them, plan to get voicemail, keep it in 60 seconds or less. Remember to lead with the value, why it matters to them. And then what I will often do is say, I'm going to drop this in a link to you and it will be in your email in just a few minutes. And that way, whatever I shared, they can click on to get more information. And it gives you 2 touch points, right? So those are one way. So you've got your phone call, you kept your email, you can text them, especially if at the event when you met them, you took a picture together and then you texted them the photo so they could drop it in on their socials and then you can drop them and tag them. So that right there is another step. It only takes a couple of minutes and all of a sudden you've created a text dialogue. Right? And then, of course, you followed up by connecting with them on LinkedIn or wherever they hang out. So you've got those types of direct messages on social media platforms. Now, another thing is in the healthcare industry, often in the business offices, there may still be a fax machine around. And you know what? You can send them a 1-sheet fax. They may run through the building yelling, look, I got a fax, but it's going to be placed on their desk and they're going to get this fax. Boy, does that stand out. If you are using the social media apps, another quick tip is use the app on your phone and actually leave a voice message. A real human being had to leave that voice message. And when you scroll through your messages, Sabrina, like you were talking about, how many voice messages do you actually see? Any? I don't remember the last time I got a voice message on my LinkedIn. I leave them for people all the time. In fact, I get people who say, how did you do that? It's like, well, I use the app. So when you plan what you're going to say, you get to the point. They're busy people. Why does it matter to them? You're building relationships block by block, and you keep giving them the opportunity to engage. Now, we talked about potentially mailing a handwritten note. It was great meeting you at this event, at this conference. That's something that, once again, is going to be put on their desk. They're going to open it up. They're going to feel the desire to reciprocate. You may be able to send some kind of small token. And once again, there doesn't have to be a lot of money involved or anything else, but you can have that plan in place so that also, if you're working with an organization, there's often limits as to what kind of, gift that they can receive, like a monetizable value. But there's all kinds of things that you could actually put in a box. Once again, it gets on their desk that they're going to open. That makes sense. That's tied to what you do. And all of these things come into play, and you mix and match, and then you create multiple steps so that you're the person who's front of mind.
In healthcare, effective follow-up isn't just about sending emails. It's about building lasting relationships. Thoughtful follow-ups show potential clients you value their time, fostering trust and keeping you top of mind. Without a structured plan, promising leads often fade away. Avoid missed opportunity by implementing a systemic follow-up strategy, turning initial contacts into lasting business relationships. If you're listening and thinking, I have a story that could really inspire other healthcare leaders and business owners in the space, then I want to hear from you. Apply to see if you qualify to be one of our speakers on our show. Just go to theprovidersedge.com. Let's share your success and spread the inspiration further. All right, let's go back to the rest of our show. It's just about being creative at the end of the day. Don't do the routine thing, the easiest thing. You do have to have some automation set up just so you don't forget as a human being. And the easiest automation is the drip email campaign. But add on to the human factor, like you're saying, Lynn, from the voice messages. And some other people, you can send voice pipe, right? Or you send it in this format, and they listen to it, they can reply to you right away, right? So if it's something you cannot send on LinkedIn and you added that type of thing on an email, and that's pretty cool. Now you just have to generate a bunch of them for different people, and it's tailored again to their problem. So what I'm hearing is, if you become very intentional doing the individual conversation, you have that person understanding their challenges, their pains, their desire, or do pretty well. Like what we usually do is in-depth research on the general public of this niche subset. What would be their things that kept them up at night, and then do these list topics, and then you're creating content, and then you can say, hey, we just wrote about XYZ, thought you might be interested. Here's the link. And the strategy, Lynn, you're mentioning is leave them a voicemail, a text message about it, and then send them the link, and not just send an email that sometimes can get into the spam box.
Right. I mean, there's so many different techniques that you can utilize. Another thing to keep in mind is to be infotaining, meaning providing information and entertainment at the same time. And you can do that a lot of different ways. So recently, when I was on my TV show, I was doing a comparison with the movie Groundhog Day. If you've ever seen that with Bill Murray, and you will recall Ned Ryerson, who comes up and hard pitches insurance to Phil. His character was Phil, Bill Murray's character, who hasn't seen him since high school. Well, nobody likes being sold to, right? And so that's the same thing. Nobody wants you just to hard pitch them. They want to, reconnect. They want a human to human connection. You also want to find out, are they the right fit for me? Are they someone that I can help and serve, that I can create impact? As you do that discovery, and if they're not the right fit, then you're going to make an introduction or a referral, make sure you maintain that connection, but they're not someone that you're going to keep pursuing for a sale when they honestly don't need or want what you do. So it's a great way when you're building those steps and you're going through that connection, that it also helps you to identify and to discover, are they a good fit? Can I truly help and serve them? Does this make sense?
Exactly. It's at the end of the day, no matter what, it's interviewing each other, right? They have to match your energy, how you work with people, because I always talk about the 6 level of freedom. And one of them is freedom of people. Means if not are good people to work with, they're super dry. And while you have this great energy, bubbly, you're so open to ideas and they're so stuck in their own way, then no matter what you say, they're gonna not adapt your advice. So those people need to be booted out and not feeling like trying to convince them, right? And so sometimes even my own partners has to tell me, Sabrina, you often see potential in other people. They can't see it themselves. So you can't just save them. And some of them need to just to let go, right? And that goes both from prospect and our current client. If they're not really going to put in the work and get to the place they need to be and then making excuses for themselves, it's really not a good relationship to be in professionally or personally for that matter.
Yeah, no, it can be definitely a challenge to match that. And you do have to have and work with someone who, wants and needs what you offer, and that they can make that transformation, because that's what it's all about. It's a transformational arc, whether you're recovering from a surgery or you're getting physical therapy, as I mentioned earlier, or, you're selling pies out of your bakery, whatever it happens to be. That's what matters, and how you connect with people.
Right. Now, when we're thinking about customization, it takes a lot more work, time, and energy. So some people, it's like, oh, that's why my sales cycle is so long, right? So what could you say would be the better strategy to make sure that the follow-up strategy is there, but it doesn't take so much individual labor to do to make sure we actually get to the right people and continue to follow up with them?
I'm going to say that that's a catch-22 question, because it is also based on the size of the sale. If this is, a 6, 5, 6, 7-figure sale, well, of course, there's going to have to be a different level of customization involved, because that's that personal attention to build the relationship, to build the rapport, to move them forward. However, when you put a framework together, that's what I worked on with the people in the workshop. It was about getting it done, actually building up their follow-up workshop, their framework. So the framework that they needed. And when you have that framework in place, even if it's not exactly what you need, you've built out templates, you've built out scripts, you've built out, the assets that you can use, and you've built out your persona so that you've identified them. And as you have conversations, you're adding to that persona for that individual about things that matter to them, that really struck a chord, or things that caused a trigger reaction. So, okay, that's a trigger. You don't want to repeat that, right? And all the way through, have you discovered anything that reveals that they're not a good fit? So, because it's also for you, so that you can be really effective and create that impact. So as you're doing that, then when you are at that stage, you can say, I've got A, B, or C to choose from. I'm going to choose B, and I'm just going to tweak it. And 5 minutes later, you're done. If not 2 minutes later, it's that fast. Even if you're leaving a voice message, you know what you're going to say. You can say it, and then you can send the email that links to the piece of value that you had recommended in the voicemail. So it's really quick and easy, and it just requires you to pre-plan. And I want you to think about this. I think there's a very famous quote that when you pre-plan things, that you save yourself like 1,000% of the time. And that's the truth. And that's how you can be more effective and efficient. And in fact, you start to get to learn, oh yeah, I'm right here. This is what they need. And then you can provide that piece of value, and you're staying front of mind. because people are ready to buy at different stages. And at one point, it just hits a chord and they realize, I need to take action. I need to get started.
Oh, yeah. It's preparedness, creating a framework with templates. Then you just simply insert, oh, they said this problem. So that means under your message, your template could say something like, oh, last time we talk about, you really want an ABC, right? And that thing can be simply inserted. And with all the CRM system, you can create a customer field and then get automatically pulled in that way, right? So definitely there are ways that we can make our life easier, but without the framework, then we're just really throwing spaghetti on the wall and then have no measurable steps. So I'm sure, Lynn, did you have that workshop recorded that other people can go to, can purchase from you? If so, we'll definitely include that link in the show note.
Yeah, no, my workshops are all delivered live. So they're paid workshops. They are recorded, but only for the participants. And the goal is to actually get work done. That's why it's a workshop. In the workshop, so I teach, train, we do the exercises. I'm in and out of all the breakout rooms helping people. And, they accomplish a lot during those. And I'd love to say it's for sale, but it's not, because you would miss all these special elixir of being in the breakout rooms and actually doing the work and getting it done and asking my advice or asking questions.
All right. So that just means people go follow Lynn, and whenever she has next workshop, you better be jumping on it so you can get her personalized support, or simply book a call with her to figure out how to best help you guys with your follow-up strategy. So then you have something that's definitely duplicatable, and not like many founders that I talk to, they're always like, oh yeah, I'm trying to figure that out. And if you're trying to figure out, you don't really have something that's written down step by step, then you really don't have a system. And when you don't have a system, it's chaotic to do any business. So I hope you guys have learned something amazing from Lynn, and can't wait to hear more about her awesomeness until next time we chat. Are you maximizing every opportunity from your healthcare conferences? Nearly 43% of professionals miss out on potential deals due to poor follow-up. Let's recap on how you can turn your conference contacts into long-term business relationships and elevate your growth strategy. Here are the 5 key points we discussed. Number 1, the importance of follow-up in healthcare businesses. Effective follow-up isn't just about polite emails. It's about building trust and securing high-level deals. When you do follow up, you do have to create a structure and strategy with useful information that people actually want to know, so you can show up as a giver and not just chasing them around. Number 2, crafting a winning follow-up strategy. Preparing starts before the conference. Identify key contacts, understand their pain points, and plan your discussion for impactful interactions. Number 3, tools and techniques for effective follow-up. Utilizing CRM system to track interaction. Utilize AI tools to do research of each contact on your behalf, and then add them into CRM system to track your interactions and automate some routine tasks and reminders. Personalized communication methods such as handwritten notes and voice messages leave long-lasting impressions. Number 4, real-life example and case studies highlights the tangible benefit of a structured follow-up plan, demonstrating significant increases in conversion rates. Number 5, overcoming the follow-up challenges by addressing time constraint and resources limitation with painful planning, maintaining consistency and persistence without being intrusive to keep connections alive. We invite you to share your experience and insight with us. Post on LinkedIn, tag me, Sabrina Runbeck, and let's engage in a dialogue that can steer our collective success to a more prosperous and efficient future for both you and your clients. Let me ask you this. What follow-up strategies have proven most effective for your company. Thank you for tuning in to Provider's Edge podcast. We hope you enjoy our latest episode and found the insights and tips helpful. We'd love to hear your feedback on the show and learn what topics you'd like us to cover in the future. So please take a moment to leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform and let us know what you think. Your feedback is essential to help us improve the show and provide you with the content you need to take your healthcare business to the next level. Thank you for your support, and we look forward to hearing from you soon.